Live from London, it's Plank of the Week with Kevin O'Sullivan.
Well, there you are. Welcome to another sensational edition of Plank of the Week, the show where we pick the biggest idiot of the last 7 days. And I have got one hell of a panel for you. The brilliant Chloe Dobbs, dazzling debutante Adam Brooks, Ellie Hodges, and, of course, he's an old stager now, Will Kingston. Welcome, Ellie, by the way. Two dazzling debutantes. What more can I offer you? Let's get cracking right away, and it's you first, Chloe.
Keir Starmer, who seems to be a plank almost every week. So they've now got a new master plan to stop the boats, and it is creating a TikTok account.
Yeah.
So they've made a TikTok account called Secure Borders UK. Last time I checked, it had about 150 followers. So clearly going strong. And what they're going to do
They're all migrants.
What they're going to do here is they're going to put up videos of people getting deported, for example, to try and scare the migrants in Calais away from coming. Because a lot of them, they go on TikTok and they see all these videos from other migrants who have made it here of the fancy hotels, and look at my big flat screen TV, look at my jacuzzi, look at the buffet I get. And they think if they put up a few videos of the Home Office kicking some people out the country, that it's going to stop the traffic.
I'll tell you what makes me laugh about that is they put these videos up of people being arrested, deported, detained, as if that happens all the time. Yeah. I mean, it's an extremely rare occurrence. 153 followers. TikTok should do the trick, don't you think, Adam?
No.
Thank you very much, Ellie.
TikTok, come on, you know, it's full of woke kids as well. I'm hoping that maybe these videos educate the young woke on TikTok and they realise just how bad this migrant crisis is. And they might learn something, because the mainstream media isn't really pushing out how serious this is and how bad the country has become because of the migrant crime.
What it is, in my view, this is Keir Starmer, Keir's crew, Keir's useless cabinet crew, going, oh, you know, that Donald Trump and that Nigel Farage, they're doing really well on TikTok. Let's climb on board that wagon. And they've done it really badly. As you say, Adam, this is not going to set the social media world on fire.
It won't stop one migrant.
No,
not one.
What are your thoughts? You're from the social media generation, Ellie. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'd say there's two reasons why they're doing this. One, the White House have a fabulous TikTok account. You have to give them credit. They do these absolutely dramatic videos of people being deported, and they have a massive following. So they're either trying to follow that and follow in their footsteps, or they've seen that Nigel Farage is the most popular politician. If you combine, I think, all of the leaders of the main parties, he has more followers than all of them combined. So I think they're either trying to copy Nigel Farage, which, come on, isn't going to work, or they're trying to copy the White House, and I think it's absolutely disastrous.
You know what they want to do, Will? If you look at the White House deportation TikTok account, it's got all those guys in that Salvador prison. That with their head shaved, head down. That's what we should have on our one.
Something tells me this won't be quite as based, to use the parlance of our times. It is ironic that in the same week that we've heard that a new Chinese super embassy will be effectively a spying operation for very, very sensitive data going across the City of London, they are also now very happy to use a Chinese propaganda platform in the space of TikTok in order to try and get their woeful messaging out. I don't hold out high hopes like Adam that this will have any effect whatsoever, apart from maybe the Streisand effect.
So that's a no from all of us. That's 5 no's. We're making this show, filming this show, just as it has been revealed that the Kylie Minogue of politics, spinning around Keir Starmer, has staged his 13th U-turn. He's decided that these cursed, hated digital ID cards will not be compulsory after all. As if we're all going to go, do you know, you don't have to have these digital ID cards, but I'm going to get one anyway. No one will bother now. So what we're going to do now, the Home Office is going to spend a lot of money wasting time and effort on a system that nobody is going to partake in. So another...
And it won't stop a single illegal migrant either, just like their TikTok account.
Exactly.
And as the token Australian on the panel, I resent our Kylie being associated in any way with Keir Starmer.
Actually, you're right, Will. That's not the greatest analogy, is it? Keir Starmer, Kylie Minogue. I mean, have you ever seen them in a room together? I mean, they look very similar, don't they?
I know who I'd rather be at a party with.
Yeah, me too. Shall we move on? And Adam, it is your very first nomination for Plank of the Week.
Plank of the Week has to be our ever so popular London Mayor, Sadiq Khan.
It's to you.
Another regular.
He's claiming that London is getting safer again. It's the best city in the world, apparently. But he's completely wrong. Anyone that works in London or comes into London a lot will know that crime is out of control.
Yeah.
And the official stats might give the impression that things are getting better. But since he's been London Mayor in 2016, some of the stats are just awful. Sex crimes are up 66%. Knife crime, 67%. I'm a knife crime campaigner, so I know what I'm talking about.
I thought you were going to say you're a knife crime perpetrator.
No. But look, anyone...
Violent crime up 41%, drug offences up 27%, street theft up 180%, moped street robbery up 600%. And he says London is getting
And this
safer.
is a lot of underreporting as well, especially with rape. But there's a lot of people that I speak to that do not even bother reporting certain crimes because all they're going to get is a crime reference number emailed to them and they're never going to hear from the police again. Crime in London is out of control.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how he tries to spin it. I think he trolls us most of the time.
I agree.
And I also think that they've got certain departments that like to massage the stats and do it so it looks good for him.
And when there's a rape every hour in London, I think a lot of women will think, what is the point in me reporting it? Nothing is going to happen. And that goes the same with other crimes as well. And all this is based on the fact that murder has gone down. But the majority of other crimes have actually increased. And if you look at the whole period since he's actually been mayor, crime has increased since he come in. So he's basically saying, oh, but when I was mayor a couple of years ago, it was further down. But it doesn't matter. You've still been mayor this whole time and you still run this city to the ground. And people across the world, I think you could probably say it for Australia as well, they don't view London anymore as a loved city. I want to go to London. It's not the same anymore.
Absolutely. I mean, countries around the world, in the Middle East, Arab countries, are warning their citizens not to come to London because it's not safe. And if you look at the statistics on phone theft, mobile phone theft, it's about once every 6 seconds a mobile phone gets stolen in London. So let me ask you two, our ladies. I'm a trained observer. I can tell you're both female, Chloe and Ellie.
Don't assume my gender, Kevin.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Of course, you're what do they call it? Oh, I don't care. Multi-gender men. What are
I'm gender fluid.
Non-binary. Non-binary. That's another term I couldn't care less about. Seriously though, as the two ladies on the panel, do you feel unsafe walking the streets of London? Because if I was you, I damn well would.
No, I don't feel safe at all in London. Like, it's okay out in the suburbs, but in central London, even when it's not late at night during the day. I mean, when I walk to this building, even if they're
in the day as well.
You've got these people between here and the train station that they just go up and down on their e-bikes, and I've had them come up to me and push and shove me to try and get my phone and my bag off me. It's absolutely relentless, and they seem to just, be able to be completely immune to any accountability because they know the police won't bother coming out after them, and if they can zoom off on an e-bike, then nothing is going to happen. I had one of my family members recently say, I haven't been down to London at Christmas time for ages. I think I'd love to come down and see the Christmas lights on Oxford Street. And I just said, just don't bother. Don't waste your time. You're going to spend the whole time worrying about your belongings being stolen, being terrorised by these guys on e-bikes zooming around you in circles trying to steal from you. And it really annoys me how smug Sadiq Khan is. Every time he's questioned on this, he sits there on his little high horse, cherry-picking statistics, and he'll say, oh, yes, it's safer, and he'll give you some stat, but he won't say what the beginning point is. He means it's safer since the 1980s. But if you compare to since he came into office,
I think it is safer since the 1980s.
Has been run into the ground.
That's rubbish. I think it's a lot more dangerous since the 1980s.
I remember the 80s.
I wasn't alive then.
Yeah, I do too. I
think the problem is now as well. So when I speak to older family members about this, they say, OK, you'd get in an argument in a pub or something, and you'd have a fight, and that would be it. And now, because it's knife crime, people are so scared to let their kids out as well now because they think it won't just be a fight, it will be a stabbing, which is obviously much more dangerous and has far bigger consequences.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, here's another thing that really, the worst thing about, with Sadiq Khan, everything's the worst thing about him. But not so long ago, this guy, he's beginning to buckle on this now. we have obviously the rape gang scandal all over the country. Every city, every town, most villages as well. There's a rape gang problem. Sadiq Khan, until about 2 months ago, insisted that the only place in all of Britain where there was no rape gang problem was London, the capital city with nearly 10 million people living in. No problem at all. He's been forced into admitting that maybe there is a problem. And there's that famous footage where Susan Hall, the Tory leader of the London Assembly, is saying to him, what are you going to do about the rape gang problem? He's going, sorry, what do you mean?
She asked him nine
rape
times.
gang? What do you mean? And he acted like he'd never heard of the rape gang scandal. And I was shouting at the screen saying, Sadiq, read the papers, watch the telly. He acted like he'd never even encountered the concept.
Well,
of course he did. It's an outrage.
That's
It's
why
an
it's-
outrage.
He's so untrustworthy and so arrogant.
If he is to admit that, then he has to admit that the religion of multiculturalism, of which he is one of the great prophets, is a complete and total failure.
Ellie, it is your turn for your very first nomination on Plank of the Week. Who have you got?
So my plank of the week is Grok. As we all know, it's kind of been in the news a lot recently. And it's because this is the AI tool of X, formerly Twitter, that is able to make, let's say, sexualised...
You mean X that no one calls X?
Yeah.
Twitter.
the least successful name change in the history of brands. But anyway, carry on.
That can make sexualised photos of people. But the outrage has come because it's happening to women and also children, and young children, and I'm talking about toddlers. And it is outrageous. And I would say that I don't care what anyone says to me, calls me on X, Twitter, whatever. If they call me any name under the sun, I don't care less. If they then try and sexualise a photo of me, I think that's kind of borderline harassment. So it's awful. But I think the problem with this is X should not be banned, and Keir Starmer is now using this as a way to say, oh, should we ban X? And I think we all know that it comes down to this government hates having criticism, and X is the one platform where I think he's criticised the absolute most.
I'll tell you what, there's so many elements to this, but mainly this is like going to the hospital and saying I've got an ingrowing toenail, and they say, well, we'll amputate your leg then. You know, this Grok thing where sort of bikinis are being grafted onto people. I mean, I've been begging for it to happen to me. And it has there! Look! There you go.
What is that you're serving?
I'll tell you what that is. That is Meghan Markle's cookie dough.
Oh, wow.
I made that. I made that and I dressed up like that in order to make them.
Impressive
It's
stuff.
That's my home.
It's
That's the way I dress when I'm at home.
It's a yes from me, Kev.
Yeah.
Stunning. Stunning and brave.
I quite fancy myself, but not above the neck there. Actually, the thing is about this, though, I don't know what you all feel, particularly I don't know what to call women these days. The ladies. You get in trouble for that. Sexist, isn't it? Particularly the ladies. What the hell? Let's go for it. Knock myself out. Use that dangerous term. Seriously, look, I don't approve of what Grok is doing to women. And it's not Grok. It's people using Grok to do this. So who's doing this? That's a bad thing. That's an intrusion on a woman's dignity, on her privacy, and it should be stopped. But you look at what's on social media generally, the pornography out there, the child pornography, you know, grafting bikini bodies onto people's heads. That doesn't strike me as the worst thing I've ever seen. And suddenly, Labour go, that's it, we're going to ban Twitter, we're going to ban X. Do you think it's got anything to do with the fact that X is owned by their mortal enemy, Elon Musk?
I mean, absolutely.
Yeah. He's getting fact-checked nearly every tweet.
Yeah, I know.
So, X is a platform that highlights the lies and the dishonesty of this Labour government.
Yes, it
and
does.
They hate it, and it goes worldwide. But look, let's just be true here. Anyone that removes the clothes of any child is a paedophile and deserves to be in prison. That is a fact. Now, people using it for bikini pics, I've had it done to me. You've just shown it can be done.
Done to me now.
Well, on Saturday, I proved...
I'm rather obsessed with this picture.
On Saturday, I proved that ChatGPT would do the same. Yeah. I was sat next to my wife and she allowed me to do a picture with her. Okay. I covered her face and her body when I put it online. But ChatGPT did it. When I put my evidence out there on X, Elon Musk shared it. He retweeted me.
Really?
So my phone blew up. Absolutely blew up. But I think he wanted people to show that it's not just his AI platform. There's a problem with AI in general, and you can prompt it. So first time it might say no, it did when I did it. So I said, non-sexualise it, an outfit like you would see on a beach, and suddenly my wife appeared in a bikini. So you can get round it by tricking them.
I think the problem is here as well, is this has gone absolutely crazy on the media everywhere. Every newspaper, every news outlet, they're all talking about this. Where were they when the grooming gangs was happening?
Exactly.
They weren't there, and that's what's really frustrating. So I think we just need to stop this feature from being able to happen, move on from it and focus on the actual issues that are facing women today.
So I'll go back to what, it's hard to sort of work out where the plank is in this nomination. Because, as I say, you can't. It's not really Grok, is it? It's whoever's using Grok to do this.
The perverts. So let's say it.
And secondly, my plank in this. We'll go with your one, Ellie. But my plank would be, the Labour government, Starmer, for their massive overreaction and hiding. Liz Kendall, the technology secretary, saying this is all about protecting women and children. No, it's not. It's all about striking a blow against their enemy, Elon Musk. Overreaction. I'm not approving of what this is, but there are much worse things on social media than this, and the Labour government's never done a damn thing before. And you're right, every time old Keir Starmer says, his tweet of the day, he hasn't tweeted since last week, by the way.
It's because he keeps getting fact-checked.
He's tweeted the way he goes, my government is improving services, and blah, 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 blah. Underneath said there is no evidence to support this. That's why he doesn't.
Isn't it interesting how it can take them, nearly a year to try and sort out a grooming gang inquiry, which causes far more harm to women and children. Yet Liz Kendall can then stand up and say, we're going to change the law within a week to make this a crime to put a bikini on someone.
It's absolutely
right. What about Hugh Edwards? Just quickly, Hugh Edwards didn't get a prison sentence for looking at pictures of underage kids. David Coote, the ex-referee, had pictures of underage kids on his phone. They don't go to prison.
Well,
so all this virtual signalling, like we've got to protect the kids, why don't the government change the sentencing for child pornography?
There is guidance to the courts that pretty much anyone on a first offence, paedophile offence, no matter how bad that offence is, doesn't go to jail. That's why Hugh Edwards got off. I think we've got to change that. We have a very strange attitude in this country to paedophilia. We seem to be very lax on it. So I think we ought to raise our game on that. Now, Will Kingston, you've got arguably my favourite nomination of the week. It's the Met Police again, but why this time?
Well, I've got good news and bad news, Kev, when it comes to the Met Police. The good news is...
The bad news is they still exist.
Yes, that is true. But the good news is that they've taken some time off coming up with new and novel non-crime hate incidents and appeasing Islamists and...
have they taken time off of that? I haven't noticed.
They have. But the bad news is what they've done in that spare time, and they've gone after the great scourge of modern London, and that is the pigeon feeder. The humble pigeon feeder. There is this lady who was in Harrow this week. You can see on the screen there as we pop it up.
That says a lady in the white hat, yeah?
Yeah, for the heinous and egregious crime of feeding pigeons in her local park. She was initially warned by the police to stop it because, of course, pigeon feeding is the great crime of the modern age.
12 officers.
She was warned.
12 coppers.
She was given a warning. She did not comply. And then the response was to bring almost 12 officers, put her in handcuffs, chuck her in the back of a police van, and then tell her that she's got a fine for throwing bread on the ground.
100 quid, right? 100
quid.
Let's have a look at recorded footage of this, because there was a guy recording all this, I think, on his mobile phone. I think registering his dismay and what should be all of our dismay, really. Take a look.
Arrest the lady for feeding birds. You could have just tell the lady don't do that again and let her go on her business, but you want to arrest her for feeding birds. Bruv.
She chose not to comply.
That's not a reason for you to have the woman on handcuffs, man. For feeding birds. For feeding the pigeons. The lady's getting arrested for feeding the pigeons, my lady.
I like that guy.
Yeah.
I like that guy. Well, I mean, what a snapshot of modern policing, modern Britain. That is just off the scale insane, isn't it?
You know what infuriates me about this clip is that the police have the power of discretion. So is there some regulation somewhere that says you can't feed pigeons in this park? Probably. But they still have the discretion and the confidence to say, we're going to apply some common sense here to a woman who's obviously got, the right intentions and is not causing any sort of harm.
Doing the nice thing.
Doing the nice thing, and yet they still don't use their discretion there when they do use their discretion to not prosecute or even investigate shoplifting or any other such proper crimes that go on in modern London. It is the warped priorities, which I think is driven out of cowardice. It's easy to put that chick in handcuffs. It's much harder to actually solve proper crimes.
Look at that lady. How old is that lady? Around about 60, I would say, maybe slightly younger. She's a middle-aged lady. Why are there 12 coppers there? What are they, cowards?
Yes.
I think very clearly the police like to have an easy job. We see
it's easy.
That is why they are so soft on Islamists, because what they will do is they'll see, for example, a load of pro-Palestine protesters hurling rocks and all sorts, trying to beat up one person who's pro-Israel or anti-Hamas, and they say, oh, well, wouldn't it just be a bit easier for us if we just cart away the one person who's pro-Israel rather than have to deal with this huge mob? And that's why they go after people's tweets. That's why they go after ladies feeding pigeons, because then they can hit their quotas, get their pay rises and promotions and whatnot without actually fighting the more difficult crime to fight, which matters more.
Yeah, and this is feeds into this increasing syndrome. The woman who got fined, was it 200 quid for pouring a cup of coffee down a drain before she got on the bus? Peter Blexley, our favourite copper here on Talk, ex-copper, he got done for 100 quid for chucking a cigarette down a drain at Waterloo Station. It's getting ridiculous. Who's seen Mary Poppins, the film?
Yeah.
So how would that scene if it was now? That feed the birds, tuppence a bag. You do no such thing. You're under arrest. Let's take a break.
Live from London, it's Plank of the Week with Kevin O'Sullivan.
Welcome back to Plank of the Week. This is part 2, and it is my go. And I'm going to nominate one of our favourite regular nominees. That is, of course, the BBC, which takes something like 3.8 billion quid off long-suffering citizens of this country every single year because we're forced to give it the best part of £180 a year by law, the TV licence fee. Got to end. Over the next 3 years, they've handed out contracts worth £63 million. What for? Programmes, production, foreign travel, the news department. No, taxis. Taxis for staff and guests. £63 million. Now, it's to cover the showbiz beat. This goes back a long time. They've been spending millions and millions of pounds on cabs and hotels for guests for many years. But 63 million. I remember doing this story maybe 20 years ago, and everyone was shocked because the amount was 19 million. It's now 63 million pounds for taxis. That is grotesque. That is obscene. And if the BBC didn't get free money, 3.8 billion quid from us, long-suffering British citizens once a year, they wouldn't be doing £63 million contracts for taxis. Right, Adam?
Look, over the last 15 years, I believe it's 2 million people have been prosecuted for not paying the BBC licence fee, and 70% of those were women. Yeah. Now, this is a state tax. I shouldn't have to pay the BBC for content that I do not watch. I watch other channels, and I still have to pay the BBC. Something has to end. Look, the BBC is full of woke and questionable employees as well. Over the years, we've seen many sex offenders that have worked for the BBC.
63 million quid is a lot of money.
Yes,
I'm trying to work out in my head the amount of taxi rides that you would have to make to get up to 63 million quid.
Well, the taxis aren't just for the stars, are they? They're for
No, they're not really for stars in particular. They're for guests. The breakfast shows in particular, the daytime shows, rack up this enormous bill. But as I say, 63 million quid. The BBC people don't care about money because they're drowning in it.
I've never had the misfortune of going into the BBC offices, but I have actually gone into the ABC, the Australian equivalent, several times. And whenever I've gone in there, I've been absolutely shocked at the scale, just the amount of people, the amount of laptops, the size of it. If you go into any modern commercial media business, They're lean operations these days. It's very, very difficult to run a profitable media business in this fragmented media landscape.
I've got a personal story about BBC extravagance. So, in another life, I was a TV critic, so Sunday Mirror. Really, I was award resistant. So I did it for about 10 years. So I used to appear a lot on the BBC. I used to do a regular slot on Radio 5 every Tuesday afternoon, right? So that was down in Broadcasting House. And then, you remember, the BBC all moved up to Media City in Salford, in Manchester. So this was, what I did was about a 15-minute slot. So I said, because don't forget it's radio, so we'll do it on the phone from now on, maybe do one of those special DTL phones or something like that. And they said, no, we find that it works much better if you're face-to-face and you talk personally. So for something like a year and a half, every Tuesday morning, along with the other TV critic that used to do it with me, we would meet at Euston Station, this is true, in the morning, first-class tickets up to Manchester Piccadilly, where a limousine was waiting for us. We would get into the limousine, drive, it was about 20 minutes to Media City, get out of the car, it would wait there, we'd go up the stairs, do our little bit for 15 minutes, back down, into the limo, back to Piccadilly Station and back to Euston. It took about 8 hours. And some of this is a massive waste of money. And all the people go...
They just don't care.
They don't care.
They don't care. And they always have like 1 million staff on everything. So when, of course, there was the huge controversy with Bob Vylan at Glastonbury, where they kept the stream on after he chanted death to the IDF, people were asking, who was there, who was in charge, were they low on staff, and they didn't know what they were
500 people for the BBC.
I think it was something like well, I heard 200.
No.
Regardless.
No. They used to send about 700. Okay. Now it's about 500.
It's insane.
Everybody
what do you
from the BBC.
do with that many people? You have one
most
person
of them are there on a jolly. Most of them are there on a jolly.
Being paid to with your licence fee money.
It is ludicrous. Anyway, Chloe, that brings us to your turn. Who have you got?
So we have got a Bulgarian migrant. I daren't try to pronounce her
I was just looking at it. Svetka.
Svetka. So she got sentenced to...
looking good.
She got sentenced to 3 years, which presumably only has to serve about half of that. So not very long in prison for scamming the state, 54 million in benefits fraud, which is insane. What do they do after she gets let out of prison? They say, you're allowed to go back on benefits again. So I guess it is the Department for Work and Pensions.
Exactly.
The Department for Work and Pensions.
So ridiculous.
That she's feeling a little bit depressed after that horrible time in prison, and so now they need to give her universal credit so she doesn't have to get a proper job. I mean, it's genuinely beyond insane how soft we are. I think it is best in our society to just become a wrong'un, right? Because if you're a wrong'un, you get all the cash. Last week, one of our planks was the Islamist double murderer who got handed 240k of taxpayer cash because he said he was depressed in prison because he wasn't allowed to play date.
He's supposed to be depressed in prison.
There's another terrorist who's in Guantanamo Bay who's now got a bunch of taxpayer cash. We haven't quite found out the final amount yet because I think he claimed that the UK...
MI5 and MI6
the UK were complicit with
his alleged torture.
Alleged torture. So he's going to get a load of our cash. So if you are a terrorist or a huge benefit fraudster, you're in the money, folks.
This is literally the equivalent of putting a coke dealer in prison and as they walk out of the gates after serving their time, just giving them a platter and a note and a few lines and saying, congratulations, welcome back to the real world.
Yeah. When I was younger, I quite fancied being... I was planning my career, I was at university. I quite fancied being a welfare scrounger for the rest of my days. Seriously. But what I did work out, right, so it was like the summer, and students then, in those days, we used to get summer jobs. So this mate of mine, he said, no, if you swing it right, you can go down the benefits office, tell them you can't find a job for the summer, and they'll give you benefits for 12 weeks or 8 weeks or whatever, holiday. So I go down the benefit office and say, there's no jobs for me anywhere, so you have to give me benefits. And they go, no, we don't. I said, yeah, you do. It's the law. They said, no, we've got a job for you here. I had to spend 8 weeks working in the benefit office. That was fun as well.
We need more of that now.
Yeah.
But if you're foreign, we've got 1.3 million foreigners on universal credit in this country. That's £12 billion of our taxpayers' money a year we're spending. So £1 billion a month we're giving foreigners. Why? If I go to Spain and I lost everything, would Spain give me benefits? No, they wouldn't. They'd put me on a flight straight back. That wouldn't be racist. But if we start deporting some of these foreigners, it's racist and the left wing go crazy. So we've got to sort out our system, otherwise we're going to be bust.
Well, this is indicative, isn't it, of what this Labour government, Ellie, has turned this country into, which is the private sector, people like us who have the temerity to actually have jobs, just becoming a kind of financial fueling system for our massive welfare state. It is now obscene how much. It's £350 billion a year at the moment is our welfare bill. Thanks to Labour, it's going to go up and up and up. This is now, people like to say that Britain is a health service with a country attached, because the NHS, of course, £200 billion a year is also a money pit. But actually more, what we've turned into more is a welfare system with a country attached. We, all of us who work, we are just the feeders of this huge welfare state, and that is a recipe for disaster.
And the problem is, the longer this continues, you create a culture around just claiming benefits, not really getting a job, not working hard.
Of course, you're so
and for
right.
young people as well, they see it as something normal, you know. And I don't think there is the shame anymore that there used to be.
No.
Sometimes a kind of shame is good. That might sound bad, but I think we should just encourage people.
Shame is good. You're
Just
exactly right.
encourage young people as well to get a job, work hard, climb your way up the ladder. And
You know
I think,
what I do? I do like in America. I just wouldn't give them any benefits. You don't work, you don't make any money, then starve.
Exactly right. Well, let's see how quickly they actually kind of get off their fat, lazy backsides and actually go out and do something.
Benefits, you know, to be serious for a second. Benefits, you know, if people are desperate, give them some money.
Safety net.
But don't.
Shouldn't be a
What we're
lifestyle
doing now,
choice.
though, Adam, is we are giving people huge amounts of money not to work. They live very comfortably on benefits.
And
you should never live comfortably on welfare.
That's the problem, is you can end up getting more money being on benefits and not getting a job, whereas if you have a full-time job on minimum wage. So where's the incentive to get a job then?
My son has just left school, he's 16. He's working as a scaffolder Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday. Gets £90 a day. Okay. Bless him. It has been freezing. I didn't think he would stick with it. He's stuck with it for about 2 or 3 months now. He's saved about £1,500 in his bank account. I'm so proud. On Thursday and Friday, he does an electrician course. So he's working forward. And look, he's going to be very well off when he's 25.
Scaffolder, he will be.
No, but electricians in 10 years'
Plumbers,
time,
you
know, they're going to be.
You know what, Adam? Also, I would imagine your son has learnt about the pride of work. Working makes you feel better. Yeah. You know, these people who don't ever work, I mean, what aimless, empty lives they actually lead. Speaking of aimless and empty lives, Adam, you've got... All right, Adam, you've got Peter Mandelson.
Yeah, Lord Peter Mandelson, our favourite Lord, claims that he didn't know of Jeffrey Epstein's crimes against children.
Sorry, just
because his excuse was because he's gay. Now, look, when this story broke, my followers on X, and I've got quite a few of them, and quite a few gay followers as well, were furious. I was getting messages after messages from gay men saying, how dare he use this as a cloak?
It's very...
Right? Really, really angry. Look, this is a guy that is alleged to have been to Epstein Island. Alleged...
No. He's not alleged. There's pictures of him. He's definitely been. There's pictures of him there.
I didn't want to get sued.
With his best friend...
Best
friend, Jeffrey,
Yeah, but I said alleged...
And Epstein called him Petey.
Yes, yeah. And, I mean, look, he's a guy that continued a friendship after the guy was done for paedophilia.
Of course, yeah.
Now, at the end of the day, I said this on somewhere else as well, if I knew a paedophile, especially if I was friends with one, I couldn't be in the same room because I wouldn't trust what I would do to them. I'm a father of 3 kids. I'm not trying to glorify violence, but paedophiles have a special place in hell, in my opinion. This guy carried on his friendship, carried on his really disturbing emails and sucking up, basically, to an evil guy.
Yeah, and he went on to the BBC. I mean, he lost his job, obviously. This is the 3rd major political position he got sacked from.
Why is he getting this treatment from the BBC?
But, let's have a look at the clip, because he went on to the BBC to make this extraordinary claim that while all this nefarious activity was going on around his best pal, Jeffrey Epstein, the convicted paedophile. He had no idea that all these young girls, underage girls, potentially being defiled by rich and famous men, courtesy of Epstein. He told this, he spun this yarn to Laura Kuenssberg on the BBC. Take a look.
Possibly some people will think because that I'm a gay man, I was sort of insensitised or I wasn't attuned to what was going on. I don't really accept that. I think the issue is that because I was a gay man in his circle, I was kept separate from what he was doing in the sexual side of his life.
Unbelievable. Now, that I'll tell you, here's the thing about Westminster, the politicians. You know, Westminster's full of, loves to praise itself, and you always get these people. He's the most brilliant man in Parliament. He's the most brilliant MP. He's brilliant, 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 brilliant. Every time someone is classified as brilliant in Westminster, take it from me, they will be A1, A-grade idiots. They always are. Remember Kwasi Kwarteng, the most brilliant man we've ever seen. Yeah, idiot. Peter Mandelson. If he's so intelligent, I mean, I'm not saying that, you know, he can't pass a few exams and can't work a few things out in his mind and isn't a sort of reasonable political operator, but a truly intelligent person would understand the business of judgment. This guy has got no judgment whatsoever, and saying that to Laura Kuenssberg absolutely proves it. The idea I was a gay man, I didn't know anything. What a load of crap, Ellie.
I don't understand why he's being even given the airtime all the time to go on and have these like long-form interviews where he's going, please forgive me, it wasn't my fault that I was friends with a paedophile, I didn't know. It's just not going to cut it. I don't think the British public are that stupid. If you go to Epstein Island, I understand maybe some people didn't know what was going on, but there was loads of underage girls just walking around. You suspect something, and if they were best friends, I think you would know what's going on.
That was it. That, as I say, that was classic Mandelson lack of judgment to actually say that. As you said, Adam, as soon as he said that on telly, massive pile on. Who does he think he's kidding? He just doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. So this is the third when he was sacked as Britain's ambassador in Washington because of his nefarious friendship with Epstein after he was convicted of paedophilia. That was his third big dismissal, the third major scandal that had got him sacked from major political positions. You know, if anybody ever gives that guy a job again,
protected.
They need their head testing. Peter, just go away, shut up, stop writing things in the paper, stop going on telly, just go away, we've had enough. And on that bombshell, let's go to break.
Live from London, it's Plank of the Week with Kevin O'Sullivan.
Welcome back. This is part 3 of this sensational edition of Plank of the Week. And we've got a new girl, we've got a new guy as well, Adam Brooks and Ellie Hodges. And it is Ellie's turn. What have you got, Ellie?
OK, so this is absolutely a horrific story. So this is a Labour Jewish MP who was banned from visiting a school in his own constituency in Bristol because of pressure from pro-Palestine campaigners and left-wing members of the National Education Union who came together to stop him from visiting this school purely because, one, he was Jewish, 2, this is the reason that they give, because he's deputy of the...
No, he's a member of
Labour Friends of Israel.
Labour Jewish Movement, they're called.
Yeah.
Labour Jewish Movement. And the NEU and indeed the Bristol Palestine group decided that automatically makes him a supporter of what Israel was doing in Gaza. It doesn't. His name's Damien Egan, by the way. Yeah. I say, Ellie, an absolute classic victim of flat-out anti-Semitism.
Yeah, so I found it really interesting because some parents even said they would keep their children off school if he came in, and some of the teachers threatened to wear, I'm not going to try and pronounce it because I'll say it wrong, but that's it, keffiyehs, it's like a traditional Arab headdress kind of thing, and that's not campaigning, that's intimidation.
That's anti-Semitism.
And anti-Semitism. And when, you know, it came out that the visit was cancelled, they described it as a victory for parents, teachers and the community and a win for safeguarding.
But because he's a member of the Jewish Labour movement, these protesters, the local Palestine Action Group, it wasn't Palestine Action, it was another group, and the NEU, National Education Union, just assumed that he was a supporter of what Israel's doing in Gaza. So it was presumptive of them as well.
So, I mean, my understanding is that he was a member of Labour Friends of Israel. But to be honest, I don't think that matters, right? Regardless of whether someone is supporting Israel or Gaza in a war, I don't think that should bar you from attending a school. What drives me insane about this is it is teachers, not woke students, but teachers who led the way on trying to get this guy banned. If you go into the teaching profession, it should be part of your, ideology and purpose that you want to expose children to lots of different ideas that they can learn from and analyse, and they should see the importance of listening to people that you disagree with. Yet you've got these teachers acting like crazy woke students that you would normally find on a university campus, trying to no-platform someone because they maybe disagree with his views on a war in the Middle East. That's insane. Those people are not fit to be teachers.
Exactly right. It's an absolute disgrace. This treating of Jews like pariahs, it's got to stop. It's being more and more sanctioned. Listen, we are running out of time, so we're going to move straight on. I know you're about to make your point, Will, but you can actually, rather than that, make your next nomination.
No, this will be similarly insightful. I'm sure we, as a result of some really top-notch reporting, we found out that the detention centre just near Heathrow, which is made up of two particular buildings, it's been open for some time. We found out that a bed in the upcoming contract will balance out at about 100 grand each, which, according to Home Office Minister Alex Norris, I quote, is great value. Great value.
Yeah, look at him. Look at him. Is that the Home Office Minister?
Keeping in mind, that's the Home Office Minister. Yeah, like, again,
God help us.
I was about to say, if we could just give out Plank of the Week on physical appearance alone.
He's definitely Geek of the Week.
He's Geek of the Week, yeah. That's plankery right there. I think about a jail cell is about 50-odd grand a year in this country. An Eton education...
£52,000 a year for a prisoner.
Yeah, Eton education is about £63,000 a year.
The thing to remember about this, so these two detention centres are in a place called Colnbrook and Harmondsworth, which are sort of adjacent to Heathrow Airport. There's nearly 1,100 places there. So that's £100,000 per place per year times 1,100. That's a lot of money, Chloe, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, whenever, as we've been talking about with the BBC, whenever someone is spending somebody else's cash, they simply do not care, and they have no sight of what is efficient, what is good value for money. I mean, the Home Office, the fact that they're even considering spending 100 grand a bed every year of taxpayers' cash is beyond belief. But they will think, oh my God, this is such a great initiative. We're getting them out of the hotels. We're meeting our manifesto.
Well, actually, no. These are people who we've decided to deport. They are these very, very rare individuals whose asylum applications have failed and they're due for deportation. But apparently, some of them stay there for months. And some of them just leave. They don't
just keep on appealing and appealing and then we give them money for legal aid.
So these are the people that are supposed to be due for deportation. But along the way, Adam, while they're at these detention centres, there's a big one at Gatwick Airport as well. We give them like craft lessons, we give them painting lessons, and so on and so forth. It's like, hang on a second, we're kicking them out. Why are we giving them all these lessons and activities?
If you break into this country illegally, you're given a bed, a roof over your head, free heating, free internet, free food,
free doctors, free lawyers, free dentists.
So you've got no worries at all. Like some of the people that are freezing out there right now in Britain that cannot afford to put their heating on because they've got no money. Look, this is a disgrace. There's no value in this. They should be put on a flight and deported straight away. And one of the leading voices with migrant hotel protests, I'm known from Epping. We've got to stop this happening. One, it is skinting this country. And two, it is a kick in the face to hard-working Brits that are having to fund this and work harder and get taxed more.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to go to break in just a second. But, this is after we've already spent a fortune on them. As you say, they get to this country They break into the country illegally. And what do? We go, oh, here's 50 quid a week. Here's a 4-star hotel. Here's a free dentist. Here's a free doctor. Here's free lawyers. Here's free driving lessons. Here's free everything you want.
Try not to sexually assault a girl.
Free food for the rest of your life. And then, on the off chance they do fail their asylum applications, we put them in these deportation centres and start spending even more money on them. Once they've failed, take them to the aeroplane and wave them goodbye. And let's wave this particular section of the show goodbye. We'll be back in a minute.
Live from London, it's Plank of the Week with Kevin O'Sullivan.
Welcome back. This is the final section of this edition of Plank of the Week, and it is my go again, and I'm going to nominate that massive waste of dysfunctional space, the NHS, the National Health Service. And, it's been very cold lately, icy conditions. And, of course, I think it's very sensible that the NHS give us advice on how not to fall over in the ice. Very, very... That's why I pay my taxes, so the NHS can tell me how not to fall over. And thank you very much. They have made a very, very useful video explaining that the best way not to fall over is to think penguin, to waddle like a penguin. Check it out.
NHS Grit Glasgow and Clyde have advised Brits to waddle like a penguin to avoid slips and falls.
When winter's chill is in the air and icy patches everywhere, it's time to waddle, don't delay, and share your penguin strut today.
It might look really funny, but according to health professionals, it really works. Remember to bend lightly, point your feet out, and take short, flat-footed steps next time you step out in icy conditions.
It might look very funny. It looks insane. And by the way, we're paying for that. That's NHS money. We paid for that claptrap. Are you serious?
It's part of this broader mindset amongst government in this country where they're this parent and they need to treat everyone like toddlers, and that is the role of government. I was at the airport the other day and I walked into the bathroom and there was literally a sign instructing me how to defecate. And I was going, I'm 35 years old. I think I've worked it out by now.
I'll tell you, this conversation is absolute crap. It really, really is.
It's icy. I might actually try that penguin thing.
The penguin, yeah.
And everyone's going to look at you and think, what's wrong with that?
But it doesn't actually look like it works.
Shall I demonstrate it?
Yeah, I think you should. Absolutely.
Can I do this? All right.
Don't defecate as you do it.
Okay. Right, okay, here we go.
When winter's chill is in the air and icy patches everywhere, it's time to waddle, don't delay, and share your penguin strut today.
Look at that. Look at that. Actually, it feels good. I'm not going to wait for the ice. I'm going to do it generally. Just all my whole life, I'm going to walk like that.
You'd never get anywhere.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like you've got
That's right.
It looks like you've got a bet.
It's all very well unless you want to go forward.
Did you sideways for the rest of your life?
Did you hear them say in the video, share your penguin strut today? Yeah. So not only do they want us to embarrass us in front of the few random strangers we see whilst we're doing it, they want us to video it and post it online as a
Let's do it on their TikTok.
Yeah, that's
TikTok. A new TikTok just for the penguin.
Maybe put it on the secure borders.
Yeah, and that will put people think, God, those people in England are weird.
Did I hear they tried to put some useless little schoolboy poem in that?
Yeah, it was kind of
rhyming,
wasn't it?
Half
song, half poem.
What rhymes with penguin?
Do we know how much?
Does anything rhyme with penguin?
Sanguine?
Sanguine. That penguin's looking very sanguine.
We can work on it.
Anyway, time to pick the winner. I would like to say highly commended, definitely Peter Mandelson. Like that one very much. What else is highly commended? Actually, they're all really strong nominations as usual, but I think the winner is going to have to be, for the sheer nanny state nonsensical nature of it, the Met Police for arresting... Well done, Will. Yeah, you don't win anything. For arresting that poor lady for feeding the birds, feeding the pigeons. Really, really, really mad. So, congratulations to the Met Police. You are Plank of the Week. Big thanks to Chloe Dobbs, Adam Brooks, Ellie Hodges and Will Kingston. I've been Kevin O'Sullivan. You've been an amazing audience. We're going to do the same thing again and pick a new Plank of the Week next week. See you then.